Welcome to the section on deploying a blockchain network. We will demonstrate how to deploy to Hyperledger Fabric the simple land registration network we built using Hyperledger Composer. We will start by installing our Composer business network onto our Hyperledger Fabric blockchain network. Then we will take a look at the Composer REST server and its uses. In this video, we will use the development network we learned to use in section 3 and deploy onto it the network we built in section 4. This will involve using the Composer command line interface or CLI to first package the network and then install it using our peer-admin card. We will then demonstrate how to upgrade the network, again using the Composer CLI. Let's get started by entering our virtual machine, to which we will have transferred the source code for our land registration network. I have placed it in a folder called LandReg. You can see it contains the key files we need: the package.json, the CTO file where we define our models, the logic JavaScript file containing the transaction logic, as well as the permissions ACL file and the queries QRY file. Our network name and version are defined in package.json. Let us package this network up into a business network archive file using the Composer CLI. This combines the network name and version to define the name of the BNA file. Before we can deploy the BNA, we need to start our Hyperledger Fabric network. Let's open a new BOBO tab by pressing F2, remove all the Composer cards we created in earlier sections, and change directory to our Fabric Development Servers folder. Let's now start the network and create our peer-admin card. In section 3, we saw how to install one of the pre-packaged networks in the Composer Playground GUI. Now we will install our custom network using the command line. This is split into several steps. First, we install the network onto the peers using our peer-admin card. The location of your own network PNA might be different. To start the network, we will need to input some details. We will need the bootstrap credentials we defined for our CA server, which we can find in the docker compose.yaml. Naturally, in a production deployment, we would typically not use the certificate authority's bootstrap identity to deploy the network. But for our development purposes, this is more than adequate. We then start the network with our peer-admin identity, creating a network administrator card. We specify the name and version of our network, and the network administrator credentials. Let's now import the network administrator card. We can see it has been added to the registry of cards. The card's name is admin@LandReg. Naturally, it communicates with LandReg business network. Let's use it to ping the network and check that it is running. This demonstrates that we can access the network. But what if we need to update the network? First, we switch back to our former BOBO screen. We will need to create a new business network archive with a new version. Let's start by updating the model definition file. At the time of recording, the Composer REST server, with which we will work in the next section, has a small parsing bug that requires us to make the previous owner's field optional. Then we edit the package.json file. Here we increase the version from 0.0.5 to 0.0.6. Then we can create a new package, just as we did before. We now need to install the new version of the network. And finally, we instantiate it using the Composer upgrade command. Let's ping the network again to check it has been updated. As you can see, the business network version has increased. In this video, we examined how to install, start, and upgrade a Composer business network into Hyperledger Fabric. We use the Composer CLI to package our network into a BNA file, install it onto the peers, start it for the first time, and upgrade it when necessary.